Hi there, my name's Elizabeth and I like to sew smart. Do you ever have trouble lining up your blocks when you're trying to put them together for your quilt tops? Well, today I'm going to show you in a handy hint how that can be done easily and they all turn out perfectly. This is the butterfly quilt that we did the other day, the demonstration I did the other day, and if you look, you need the dark borders. You need them to come exactly together in the corner, which they do on this quilt. Now this applies to any quilt you put together. You've sewn your blocks, you've cut them square, but sometimes you find they'll be a little bit off when you come to join them. Now there's an easy way that you can actually do that, and I'm going to show you that now. So here we have a dark fabric that is stitched to the light fabric. And I'm going to join, if this was a block, I'm going to join it together and it will come together at the corners. Now I have put on the stitch line, I put a pin through the stitches, but I make sure that line at the back there, also the pin goes through the stitch line on the back on the second piece. Now as you'll see, when I fold that back, that will produce a perfect match at the corner. Now if you notice, I've got one seam ironed one way and I've got the other seam on the top here ironed in the opposite direction. That way when you stitch over it, it doesn't go bump, 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 and it comes out perfectly. Now this piece here, I'll show you exactly what I mean now. I've lined these up, but if you look, both of my seams are pressed in the same direction. Now when that gets stitched together, even though I've got my pin right through the stitch line front and back, when it's stitched together it's just that little bit out, and that's because when the machine comes over the two thicknesses of the seams together, it often just pushes it a little bit that way. So I'm going to take these two to the machine and show you now exactly how that turns out. So I've stitched my line across, joining my two blocks together. I've got my seam, if you can see that, one going that way and one going that way. It makes it nice and flat. That's the most important thing. So when you come to quilting the finish, it will be a lot easier to quilt over that flatter seam. But the other one, where I had both the seams going the same way, because I've stitched over that fat piece there and the fat piece right underneath it, you can see that it actually is just that little bit out. I could probably have pushed it in a little bit, but it never seems to come out quite perfect. And when you come to quilt over it, there's quite a bump there, really quite a big bump, and you don't really want that. So that's a handy little hint for you to remember. I was taught that years ago when I first started patchwork and quilting, and I've always used it, and I find that it makes a whole difference to the top of your quilt and then for your quilting. And I hope you've enjoyed this little handy hint. Remember to give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you've enjoyed it. And next time I'm going to be showing you, for all of you who've said you've got doilies that your mum's given you or your aunties or your grannies have given you, I'm going to show you a really good way of making something really practical with them. And then you can hand them down. They'll be a keepsake for you and your family for a long, long time.